Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Not Fade This podcast. My name is Joshua Reimer. I'm joined by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Jared Block. Jared, how are you doing on this fine Monday afternoon?
We're sweating some games out right now. Just NBA schedule chaos with all of this storm stuff. Crazy how the weekend played out in regards to all that. But yeah, we're here. We get to do full time NBA here for the next couple of weeks before the Super Bowl. We'll talk Super Bowl stuff later on in the show, but right now we have to focus on what now is a small 5 game Monday.
Yeah, definitely. Snow moved up a couple games today, as many people probably already know. So Atlanta's already started if you're not paying attention. Charlotte's already started if you're not paying attention. So like you said, 5 gamer. We haven't had a 5 gamer in quite a while. We've been dealing with these 7 to 8 game slates pretty consistently recently. Jared, excited to break it down with you. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into this slate and start talking about injuries.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I came across for this slate is that we just don't know if Steph and Draymond are going to play. This is, what, 2 consecutive days of Golden State, Minnesota. So that'll be interesting to see what they do on the second leg of a back-to-back. And already note that Al Horford's going to be out for this game. Jonathan Kuminga also missing. So Golden State could be going through more of all that. From there, Memphis is a bit banged up as they have been all season. Jock Landale's taking a personal day. Santi Aldama is questionable, so that could open some things up in a tough matchup, all things considered. Franz is still out, and Portland is kind of just all over the place like they have been the majority of the year. We'll also note that Neemias Queta for Boston and Luka Garza are both questionable with an illness that seems to be a team-related thing.
Yep, for sure. Nothing else there. All right. If you're ready, I'm ready. We can get into some implied team totals.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's kick it off and start with the team with the highest implied total on the day, which is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves at 120 against the Golden State Warriors. They're 8.5 point favorites. Over unders at 231.5. We saw this Warriors team play against, or we saw the Timberwolves play against the Warriors just yesterday, and Timberwolves did not do very well. They really struggled out of the gate. Was a really low scoring affair. I think they only scored like 46 points in the first half, and then proceeded to get the doors blown off in the second half. So was not a pretty showing. Jared, what do you think about the spot here against the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to imagine them being 8 point favorites again. I really, again, I'll get your thoughts on, because you covered the NBA yesterday. I'll get your thoughts on like the whole Curry Draymond situation, because things could get really ugly if they both don't play in this one. I think that's the big story over the past week has just been how good Ant has been, and it kind of just takes away from everybody else. Naz Reid's done well from a rebounds plus assists angle. McDaniels was doing really well until yesterday. So like you had a couple of guys coming in doing pretty solid work. But again, like the main story here is that just Ant's been on fire. He'll make the top shooters list as well on the show, and I'm sure we'll talk about him in a greater light there. Though like Golden State's just not a team that has been giving up a ton of threes, but Ant still finds a way there.
Yeah, they're not giving up a bunch of threes, but they are giving a bunch of points up to shooting guards, most over the last 7 games. Also giving up the most threes to shooting guards over the last 7 games. So, definitely a path. I really liked the Ant spot yesterday. Even with the blowout, he ends up coming through, getting 30 plus. Was really impressed by that. I think he's right back in play today. Don't know about Warriors. I honestly, until you get like a true definitive whether Curry is playing or not, this is a hard spot to judge. Um, yeah, we kind of just gotta wait and see with the Warriors.
It's tough because they start at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. So good luck.
Yeah, indeed. Good luck. I would say Ant's playable regardless. It's just everything else is dependent on whether Curry and Green end up playing or not. I suspect they end up sitting. I don't know. Just the general vibe from this Warriors team. They've definitely, I feel like they've sat Curry on back to backs this season, though I could be wrong. I'd have to go look up to see if they have. Um, Feels like a spot where he definitely could sit, though.
Yeah, I would agree. And if that's the case, like I already said, Horford, Kuminga both out. So that would make things really sketchy, and then you could start like I don't know, like then you start to get worried that like Ant is a product of a blowout, and we could see opposite end of the spectrum blowout back to back days.
Yeah, he sat a back to back in November. On the second half of the back to back, he sat out another back to back in November, another one in November, sat out one in January, none in December. He had this long string of games where he was out for a while in December. So I mean, they definitely shown the possibility of him sitting on the second half of back to back. Feels like the smart thing to do, to be honest. They haven't had a back to back in a while, too. So I just wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either. They play in Utah and then they go home. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Kind of feels like a spot where like back to back, same team, same game, same environment. Feels like it.
For sure. All right, if you're ready, I'm ready. We'll move on to this next team.
Let's move on.
Next team is the Los Angeles Lakers. They have a 118.25 implied team total here. They're 1.5 point favorites. Over-unders at 235 in this one. Lakers taking on the Bulls here. What do you think about this game, Jared? Or this team?
Well, this is the most entertaining game of the night. I think you could argue it's the most entertaining game of the day. And we do know that. Do we want to talk about the whole game, or do you want to just talk about Lakers first? I guess I could go a variety of ways. I do think, though, when you're looking at it from a Lakers standpoint, it does stand out to me, at least, that you do see the Chicago Bulls, whether it's recent opponents or they're actually scheming this, they've done really, really well against point guards, and they have not done well against wings the entire year. That, for me, just screams like this is more of a LeBron game than a Luka game. In the trend section of our rundown today, we kind of covered what these guys have been doing. They've done really, really well from a rebounds plus assists market in games without Reeves, and you'd expect that to be the case. Specifically, LeBron, 13 plus RA in last 9 of 12 without Reeves. Luka, 17 plus RA in 3 straight without Reeves. Rui's also jumped into this, and it's been a major factor the last 3 games. Marcus Smart's been a really good contributor all around over the last 6 or 7 games as well. So we have a good sample size of what this team looks like without Reeves. And I think you go from there and you look at matchup and you say, this one is definitely much more of a situation where Chicago's just not getting like blasted by any restricted area scoring anymore. So I guess that's something to note too. But it does scream like not the greatest Luka spot. Bron's spot's pretty solid.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that. Like you said, the Chicago team does a good job of stopping that point guard position for the most part this season, and especially over the last 7 days. So feels like it's a hard spot to get behind Luka. It's probably because they have a Okoro moving over to guard the ball handler, I'd imagine. I don't know for sure, though. I don't watch a lot of Bulls games, to be honest with you. But yeah, LeBron's in a great spot. I don't think you need to go much further than that. Rui off the bench could do well too. I know he's been excited about his role off the bench. It's been going pretty well for him. Like you mentioned, he's been finding his role, so definitely don't mind that either.
Yep, they're coming off a huge win, a huge come from behind win against the Mavericks. So really good momentum coming in there for the Lakers. Yeah, I think. Do you want to just talk about the other side?
We certainly can. Up to you.
All right. For me, I think so. Underdog posted their highlight guy of the afternoon. That is Josh Giddey, who has had 20 points, 14 assists, and 12 rebounds on average in both of the games against the Lakers last season. 2 triple doubles in those games. So I don't know what that really has to do with today, considering his minutes restriction is still a big thing, and he's not going to start most likely. We've seen Kobe White take the 1, and like you said, Okoro has been sliding into the 2 for this team recently. For what that means against the Lakers, I don't know, man. Like, they don't really allow very many threes right now. They're not really allowing much other than just like paint and restricted area scoring. That could benefit a guy like Dosunmu. I'd like to say that would be cool for Giddey, as he is a driving scoring guard, but I just don't know if you could trust him with that minutes limit. So it's kind of all over the place. And what that leaves us with is, like, I think we're going to say this a couple times on the slate. There's just not much there's just not much meat on the bone for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Matas Bucelis could be someone that ends up being the guy that slides into that paint role more so than anyone else. Like, he is a good driver. This is a Lakers team that's struggling against small forwards. Like, he fits that role pretty well. Could certainly see Bucelis having a good day. Not really behind much else. Uh, I think everything else is kind of a question mark. And like you said, Giddy dealing with this restriction right now makes things hard to exactly pin down with him. Um, okay, anything else with the Chicago team? If not, let's cover one more team and then move on to hottest shooters.
Yeah, again, I said it was the most entertaining game of the day. Just because it has a high total, there's not really not much to look at outside of a few key things.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's talk about the Celtics here, who have the third highest implied total on this main slate. They're at 117.5, 7.5 point favorites. Over-unders at 225.5. Jared, what do you like here for the Celtics?
Yeah, we mentioned the injury stuff. It's mainly illness related for Keita and for Garza. We'll give you an update if we get anything, but I doubt we do until that 30 minutes beforehand. What this really means, though, is like we can look at the profiling spot for Boston in a positive light, given that pretty much any time they're going to be in any matchup, it's going to be a pace-up game, and this one decides to be a huge pace-up spot against Portland. With that said, they're not really allowing a lot of above-the-break threes. Portland is, and Boston's mainly an above-the-break scoring team. So right away, there's a red flag. I think that Jaylen Brown can take over some mid-range scoring. I think that from there, like, there are guys that can profile well, but it does scare me that if Boston can't hit threes, I don't know who exactly gets there outside of Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, no, that's kind of just the answer here, right? Is like Jaylen Brown's in a really good spot. Over the last 5 games, Portland's given up the seventh most points in the paint outside of the restricted area, and the seventh most points in the mid range. Over the last 7 games, Jaylen Brown's averaging more than 10 points in both of those zones combined. He's also doing really well in the restricted area. I would say their restricted area defense is below average. Yeah, I like the spot overall for JB. I don't think you need to go to any of the 3-point scorers like you mentioned. Pritchard's off my radar. Anthony's off my radar. Derek White's off my radar.
Yep.
But this is a good spot for JB to score 30.
Yep, I completely agree. The peripheral rebounds plus assist spot's also really good for Brown. So kind of just, he's honestly like one of the top plays of the day, and I think I'd put him over some of these higher implied totals we've been talking about.
Can definitely get behind that. Jared, if you're ready, I'm ready. We can head over to hottest shooters.
We can do that.
Well, I guess we just start out with JB, right? I mean, he's had 42 plus PRA in 5 straight games. He's been absolutely electric recently, whether you look at it from a PRA perspective, a points perspective. He's had 25 plus in 9 straight games. Yeah, JB's been cooking recently, and like we just talked about, this is a great spot for him. So, feels like a good spot to start out. Jared, where do you want to go next?
Yeah, I think what I'll do is talk about Sam Hauser. He doesn't like. I know that he probably doesn't profile necessarily all that well from above the break, like we've mentioned in the last matchup, but does profile as the team's best corner 3 guy. I think you can certainly make a case for him, and he has been arguably the hottest 3-point shooter on the team. 2+ threes in 12 straight, 3 in a majority of those games as well. Do think that he should be included here. We mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but he's been hot since that 30-point game with no 2-pointers.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, what else do you got? I don't have much else, so I'm right it on you.
Yeah,
for
we
this
mentioned Edwards, 4+ threes in 7 of the past 9, 45 plus PRA, and 3 of the past 4. Has some monster games recently. And then I think you can also mention like Kobe White's been doing really well in this late stretch, 30 plus PRA in 4 straight games. From there, it's kind of a quiet slate.
Yeah, definitely a quiet slate. Should mention Shaden Sharp here. He's had 22 plus points in 4 straight games. He's also had 22 points in each of the last 3 games against Boston. One of those came just about a month ago. So I know the DVP does not line up at all. I would say that the zone scoring like barely lines up. Like I think it's an okay spot for his zones. It's not a great spot though. Yeah, I think Sharp's at least a guy you can mention a hottest shooters, maybe not a guy that you really want to be taking today. Okay, anything else? If not, we can head over to round table.
Let's do it.
For those who don't know how it works, Jared and I will bring some of our top plays in different statistical categories to the table to talk about. Those categories are points, rebounds, and assists. We'll start out with points. Jared, I'll let you go first as always. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, some of the top plays here are either playing out right now or they played out already in the Indy Atlanta game. But I will mention this spot for Donovan Mitchell, who arguably should have probably been in the last segment. He's in a really good scoring spot. We just know that point guards against the Orlando Magic have just gone off pretty much every single matchup. So I'll take D Mitch here. That's really the only thing that I really like from the Cleveland side of things today. And he's obviously been tremendous from the rebounds plus assists market as well.
Can certainly get behind that. I really like this spot for Jabari Smith. I think that Jabari does a really good job of scoring from above the break threes and from the paint in the non-restricted area. Those are the 2 points where this Grizzlies team is struggling. Grizzlies are now the new... Who was it? Who was the team that we were really ripping on for being bad against power forwards? Was it the Bulls? I feel like it was the Bulls. Yeah. It was the Bulls for a while. They're still relatively bad, but I don't think they're like the worst in the league. Memphis is the new team that's like worst in the league against the power forward position. So this ends up being a really good spot for Jabari Smith Jr. I like the overall upside here.
Right. Moving on to rebounds. Mentioned Mitchell before. I think he can still do well here, but he won't be that guy for me today. Who it will be. I think this is... I'm curious to see if this is going to play out the way that I think it will, because I do think this is a monster Rudy Gobert rebound spot. 6th most rebounds to the center position over the last 7 games, 5th most on the year from Golden State. No Al Horford. So now when we talked about, I guess we'll see if Draymond plays, but like the lack of center playing today is going to be interesting to see. And I truly wonder if like playing more post means better Gobert results. How many did Rudy have in the spot last night? Is it a spot where I'm just going to look? Oh, yeah, not good. So
yeah,
blowout related, certainly. Still, though, double digits in like the majority of his past 10 games. I think it's an interesting spot to get behind.
Yeah, certainly an interesting spot to get behind without a doubt. Get to cheat a little bit. Go back to one of the plays that we've already talked about. I really like the consistency for Jaylen Brown in this area. He has been a rebounding machine recently. 8+ in 4 out of the last 5 games. 7+ in 9 out of the last 10 games. Rebounding spot that's really good for Jaylen Brown. Now, the DVP doesn't necessarily line up with it at all, to be fair. But I think this is a spot where you just disregard DVP and realize the rebound chances he's getting is what's leading to this, and seems like a solid spot for that.
For assists, I forgot to mention earlier that Deni Avdija is on the injury report today. He technically is questionable with a back injury. He missed the last game, played 17 minutes in the game before that. That could put us in a spot where Drew Holiday is good to go here. Now, again, we're not going to see Drew probably play 25 minutes. He hasn't done that in this entire stretch that he's been playing again, but is averaging a good amount of potential assists, has recorded 7 assists in back-to-back games. While I know that we love the Caleb Love spot, he's a very, very good three-point play today, but I think that the point guard assisting responsibilities will go to Drew here, and I think that that's a spot you can take advantage of. Boston's been destroyed by point guard assists all year. They've allowed the most on the season, 3rd most over the last 7 games. And on top of that, you get somewhat of an interesting revenge narrative, right?
Yeah, certainly an interesting revenge narrative, without a doubt. Shipped him off because he was old, basically, and Drew has a chance to prove it there. So definitely not a bad spot. Yeah, okay. Last guy I'll go with is Coby White. I think that this is purely reliant on the fact, well, Lakers, it's a good DVP spot, don't get me wrong. Lakers are giving up the 4th most assists to the point guard position over the whole season, so, like, it's definitely not a bad assist spot. I think this play does rely on kind of the fact, though, that Kobe shouldn't be able to shoot those above the break threes today, at least not with a lot of efficiency, because Lakers have done a really good job of stopping above the break threes recently. So it's reliant on him having to pass out the ball a lot, which I think is going to be the case. Giddey would be the guy here. I looked at Giddey. I don't want to try to trust his minutes today. Doesn't seem like an optimal situation. So instead, we'll go for Kobe White for 5+ assists. Yeah. All right, Jared. You got anything else you want to cover here?
I just want to mention that Giddey's played 2 games since coming back, 26 minutes and then 23 minutes in that last game. The assist peripheral stuff truly does hold up in that minute in those minutes, but he's not going to play 30. So you're going to see probably a pretty tempting line today. I just be careful with that.
Yeah, it's at 7.5. I mean, to be fair, it's holding up, but he got 8 potential assists against Minnesota in his first game back. He converted 5 of them. That's a little bit high of a conversion rate. And then he got 14 potential assists in that game against Boston. He converted 10 of them. That's a really high conversion rate. Yeah. Usually you're banking on around 50 to 60% of your potential assists is what you end up cashing out on. He's running lucky. I mean, he's Josh Giddey. He can continue to run lucky in that regard. He's one of the better passers in the league, but he definitely is running lucky to some regard there. All right, Jared, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's move over to 2 minds are better than 1.
Let's do it.
For those who don't know how it works, Jared and I go back and forth, each of us selecting 2 player props each. We put those player props into a parlay. Our goal for the parlay is to get it to somewhere around plus 100 to plus 150. So keep that in mind if you are following along with us. We played over on DK Sportsbook, but you can play it wherever you want. Jared, I'll recap. We won on Saturday, which was really nice. And then Wemby had potentially one of the worst performances I have ever seen a player have against the Pelicans. I was astonished. Not only Sunday was a weird day for basketball. We saw the Timberwolves blow out. We saw the Spurs blow out too. The Spurs scored 94 points against the Pelicans. I was utterly shocked by they just didn't look like they had it. They didn't look like they wanted to play. So, that's sometimes what happens on Sundays. Sundays are one of those high variance days. But regardless, Jared, let's get to it today. Where do you want to start for 2 minds are better than 1?
I mentioned it just a moment ago, and I'll talk about it a little bit more here. Really high on Caleb Love today, and this is regardless of if Denny plays or not. We're going to go with 2 threes for Caleb Love. Over the last 30-day sample, we know that the Boston Celtics are allowing teams to shoot 35% from above the break. They are allowing the most field goals per game, 11.2 to that zone. And over that last 30-day stretch, we've talked about Caleb Love quite a bit, but I want to just point out that right now, over this last 30-day window, which is basically since Christmas, he ranks 10th in the NBA from above the break, Josh, per game. 3 field goals made per game, 7.3 at times. He's shooting 41% from that zone in that time frame. So I do think that he deserves that love today.
I didn't want to interrupt your great take here because I do think it's a fantastic one, but Caleb Love, not on DK. Not an option.
Wow. Devastating. I had that one.
Yeah, I know. You sound. That's why I didn't want to interrupt you. I was going to just say, hey, we can't do it. But you sounded like you had it in the chamber ready to go. So got to go somewhere else. But if you're at home and you want to tack it on to the parlay, go for it. And you have it available to you. But we're going to be doing something else here.
Yeah. I'm guessing Drew's not there either.
Drew is here. I think Caleb Love's not here because he's a bench player. It's the new bench regulations they've been having.
We'll just go with assists for Drew then. I think I can parlay that into the take.
Yeah, I like it. You want to go 4+ for Drew?
Sure.
All right, 4+ for Drew. We'll stick in the same game and go with Jaylen Brown for 35+ PRA. We talked about the spot a ton. I don't think we need to go more in depth. I really like the spot for JB.
Yep, I do as well. I don't necessarily need this to be PRA, but we could if we... Yeah, I guess we'll go with it. We'll go with D-Mitch PRA here. It's at a pretty discounted line. I don't know. I think it's the best spot best spot in the Cleveland game for sure.
Can certainly get behind that. We'll go for 30+ for Donovan Mitchell. for PRA, and then we'll go with 18 plus for LeBron James's points. We talked briefly about the LeBron James spot, but I don't know if we gave it its rightful spot. It definitely is one of the better plays on the slate as a whole. So really good matchup, really good restricted scoring from LeBron recently. He has all the tools to definitely do really well in this one. So like the spot quite a bit. All right, all together, we have Drew Holiday for 4+ assists, Jaylen Brown for 35+ PRA, Donovan Mitchell for 30+ PRA, LeBron James for 18+ points. All together, that gets you at plus 112, Jared. All right, let's get out of here, man. Final thoughts. What do you got?
Yeah, the big news that you have to wait for is this Steph Curry, Draymond Green stuff. Again, second leg of the traveling back-to-back. They played in Minnesota yesterday after that game was supposed to be on Saturday. So they created a new back-to-back for them, which, is kind of huge advantage Minnesota. So I don't feel great about that game staying close if Steph and Dre can't play. I guess we'll see how it goes. Jock Landale's out for Monday. Santi Aldama's questionable. If Santi sits, that's like a huge opportunity for Jaren Jackson, though it is a really tough matchup. I do want to mention, if I remember correctly, I think we saw Friday, and we didn't podcast Friday, so I didn't bring it up, but the centers against Houston thing has been going for a little bit. Maybe not from a rebounds angle, but from a points scoring angle. Centers have been able to do really well against this side, so that's something that interesting for Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, certainly something interesting there for Triple J. All right, I don't got anything else, so shoot the shit time. What do you think about Super Bowl? What do you think about Patriots, Seahawks here?
Now that I've had a moment to digest what happened to Denver, like they had several chances to win that game yesterday, and
Yeah.
I think that the weather ended up being their worst enemy. Fun fact, I don't know if you saw or heard, but that game could have easily been in New England had one game gone differently for New England. They didn't. It wasn't like a true destiny situation, but they could have easily had home, like the 1 seed home field advantage, and then that was only decided by one game, and now they find themselves in the Super Bowl because of it. So I think Jared Stidham played really well until he didn't, and that was unfortunate on the way that. And obviously, I think that the game plan was going extremely right until the snow. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, after watching the postseason, and it was a really, like, a very, very, unpredictable, I think is the perfect way to put it, where sometimes I do think it is predictable. At the end of the day, two of the best defenses in the NFL are now playing in the Super Bowl. So that'll be obviously a big storyline. It'll have the history of these teams playing each other about a decade ago. And, yeah, we'll get to hear about the fourth, at the run the ball at the 1 yard line situation again. So I don't know. I think both teams, people give the Patriots their crap just because of who they are and the cupcake schedule situation. They beat some of the best defenses in the NFL to get here. So I'm not gonna shit on them.
Yeah, I just think, like, if you give them the Seahawks path, do they end up being that team that's in the Super Bowl? Like, I don't think and I'm saying this as someone that is heavily rooting for the Patriots come not this Sunday, but next Sunday. I don't think my heart can stand not only the Eagles winning the chip, a team that I hate desperately, but then the Seahawks winning the chip the next year, another team that I hate desperately. But like this was like you look at the QBs that they faced throughout the year. I forget, someone put it on someone put it on Twitter and I forget what it was, but like the QBs that they face throughout the year are just garbage guys. And like I don't know, it's early, but I don't know how it's going to look come next Sunday, but it might not be pretty.
I get it, but at the end of the day, like, they still had to win those games. And it's coming from somebody who had their team blow a game against Cleveland and blow a game against Carolina, which ended up being, a playoff team, I guess. I don't know. You got to win games even if it doesn't look like much of a tough matchup on paper. So I only caught the second half of the Seahawks-Rams game, and thankfully that was one of the more entertaining parts of that. So I did not expect a shootout. But NFC West games have been shootouts all year. So I guess we'll see what that like neither so I will say like New England and Seattle, like neither one of those teams wants to play up in pace, and neither one of those teams wants to be in a shootout. But I don't know. What's the total for this game? I'm more concerned about that than I would be for like a side situation.
I don't know. I know the spread is 3.5. I haven't seen the total. I can go
3.5
look them.
New England,
No, 3.5 Seahawks.
4.5 Seahawks.
4.5 Seahawks now. 45.5 for the total.
Okay. Well, I think that you're going to see that total go up as time goes on. People usually react to Championship Sunday, and they look, obviously far surpassed the over last night. I think that will probably get bet up to like 47 as a key number, and then you'll start to see sharps take unders on that because, again, we are dealing with extreme defensive play here. And I guess the other part of this is like, I would be very curious to see if they give Kenneth Walker the same workload, or if they try to integrate some of their backups as time goes along here with more preparation time for this one. What's going to be the storyline surrounding the stadium situation?
I know both teams are practicing elsewhere. I think Seahawks are practicing. I mean, it's to make sure that, to be fair, it's not anything to do with the stuff. It's to make sure they have their own dedicated facilities. But I think Seahawks are practicing at USC, and Patriots are practicing somewhere else close. I don't know exactly where, but yeah, it is not coming. There is no storyline. That is a storyline.
Yeah,
or I guess there is a storyline, depending how you look at it.
After the dust settled, it's hard not to like Patriots plus 4.5.
Yeah, I can get behind that. That's kind of where I lean right now. Again, I am very heavily a Patriots fan this week, just because of the fact that I can't see the Seahawks win. I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so mad at the Seahawks win with Sam Darnold at the helm. Along with it, like it'd be so painful.
Yeah, I saw something that said like, taking Darnold. What was it?
Taking Darnold third overall for the Jets might be worth it if he ends up beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I saw that exact same thing.
Yep.
That was very
QB
funny.
To make the Super Bowl in that draft class.
Yep. And what that class had Allen, it had Lamar, it had several other guys too. There you go, Josh Rosen as well. Had several other guys too. Shocking to see that he's going to be the first one to make it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. It'll be a good game, I think.
I think the bigger, like, we'll get into props and, maybe, I don't know. We haven't done a podcast for the entire playoffs, so we'll probably save that for members. But a lot of talk's probably going to come around on this Drake May rushing stuff because that's the reason that they're winning some of these games now. With that said, Seattle wasn't really a team that gave up a lot of rushing yards to opposing QBs. They were kind of in the middle of the pack. And Drake May's opponents in the playoffs were just bleeding rushing yards to quarterbacks, specifically Denver, which was why we were all over that last week or yesterday. So I guess, can he extend plays against the Seattle team? I'm curious to see. But Stafford had some success with that regard last night, and obviously he's one of the most immobile guys in the league. So that'll be one of the things I'll look into over the next like week and a half here. And then on that note, like, we did see Seattle's defense get extremely exposed to two tight ends. Mm-hmm. Last night, Parkinson Higbee had huge games, and I think Parkinson dropped. I shouldn't say think I know because I played him at captain. Last night on DraftKings, he dropped what would be a game-winning touchdown now, all said and done, and that would have given me first place in that tournament. But with that said, that'll be something to watch for Hunter Henry, who I know completely shit the bed yesterday. No Patriots pass catcher did well. So that'll be some things I'm looking into this week.
Yeah, for sure. On another note, Did you watch the Denver game like in a whole like with the
I
volume on?
watched the whole thing. Yeah.
What a terrible, terrible performance by Tony Romo and whoever he's in the booth with. My God, did you see them breaking down the forward pass call or the call that was a forward pass and then it got Stidham ended up being a behind pass instead and it was ruled as a fumble and everything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see Tony Romo ask Gene Steratore if a ball is passed forward and batted down, if it's counted as a fumble? Like, Tony, you've played football, bro. Are you kidding? What a dumb question. I cannot stand. I like Tony Romo when he came into things. I think he might be one of the worst broadcast people like around right now. Like, it's truly awful.
Yeah, I put a comment in the chat yesterday about all of that stuff happened in the second half, and they kept talking like it was a take a shot for every single time Romo said conditions. 'Cause
Yeah.
they just wouldn't get off of the snow stuff. Like, have you been to Denver? Have you the temperature can be like 50 in like, and then 4 hours later it's like a blizzard, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Fun fact though, Kevin Roth, who we love dearly, he did not have any. He did not have any pregame notes for snow as of Friday, and then on Sunday morning he was like, "We might get some snow." And then,
Yeah.
Again, that's what happens in Denver, and I think that's
Yeah.
probably why you saw Denver lose that game, is because I don't think that they had Stidham like backup plan in the snow on their bingo card. So, yeah, no, yeah. To your point, like, I think that the Fox broadcast drastically outclassed
Oh, all the time.
CBS one. Like,
Love Brady.
It does feel like the Nance Romo stuff is like fading into like, I don't want to say boomer, but like that's where like the old men watch the
Kinda,
that's the
kinda,
old man
yeah.
channel.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of what it feels like.
Man.
The Fox crew is killing it right now. So
Yeah.
who do we get? What is who has the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know. I want to say Fox, but I could be wrong. Let's go look. Where to watch Super Bowl? Super Bowl will be on NBC.
Oh, Peacock
that-
has the Super Bowl. Wow.
Yeah, Peacock, NBC, whatever.
That means we get Collinsworth.
Yes, I think so.
God, talk about turning the TV, turning the mute off.
Yeah, at least Mahomes isn't there. It would have been a lot worse. Yeah, it's Tirico and Collinsworth.
Interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting. They've got it. They like for how good of a product the NFL puts out. These broadcasting networks have to get better booths because man, that was just I've and you know they pay Romo and Nance together like $30 million. I was reading an article about it on the Athletic this morning. They pay them together $30 million a year. You know how insane that is? That they get $30 million for that for the stuff that they said, like utterly absurd. All right, I'm done with my rant. You got anything else that happened over the weekend?
Surprisingly, so this never was about snow this weekend for me. I just got the brutal end of the cold stuff. I don't think I've been more cold in a long period of time ever in my life.
Yeah.
And it was just been brutal. Like,
I
I think I went out a total of maybe like 25 minutes the last 3 days.
Yeah, so it's not the cold that you have, but it's obviously cold here up in Maine. I think it got to like -10 in the feel likes throughout the weekend, which is usually okay. I mean, like, it's cold, but, you know, we can get over that. The only problem is 2 of our heaters ended up breaking this weekend, and so it was freezing throughout the house. We took the temperatures downstairs. It was like 40 degrees, and upstairs it was like barely in the 50s. Until we got the new heaters delivered, I spent all of Saturday outside of when I was at my desk working in bed, staying warm. I watched the whole UFC fight in bed because I was not going to get out of bed and do anything else. Freezing cold. And then we got a foot of snow pounded on us over the last 24 hours. So a foot and a half, really. So yeah, just living the life.
This happens to me like every year. It truly does. Like we do get -20. Wouldn't feel like well, at least once a year in January. But to see the rest of the country react to it is just, yeah, it's no joke, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is certainly no joke. All right, Jared, got anything else? If not, let's get out of here, man.
Nope, we can get out of here. Again, it's a thin slate, so if you missed part of our NBA breakdowns,
It's
I
really
would
boring.
say like if you're playing underdog prize picks, make one entry. If you're playing FanDuel, DraftKings, if you have access to those, like keep it light today.
Yeah, very light day, very easy day in terms of top plays, but I don't think there's much outside of those top plays that really catches our eye. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, we go back to normal. Well, knock on wood, we go back to normal tomorrow. And we don't have any cancellations or delays or anything, though it seems like we're going to be all good. So, yeah. All right. Anything else? If not, let's get out of here, man.
Nope, we're good to go.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer, and we will see y'all tomorrow.